welcome. This is the Public Works Podcast. My name is Joseph Blackman. Today, we got a real treat, another rebound treat, somebody that's been on the show already before, and I had to have her back. Her name is Danielle Blacet-Hyden, and she is the Executive Director at California Municipal Utilities Association. Danielle, say what's up to everybody.
Hey, what's up? Happy to be here again today. Thank you so much.
Sure thing. And Danielle, of course, I creep LinkedIn a lot. I saw that you moved into your new role as executive director, so congratulations on that. When you and I spoke before, we talked about California Municipal Utilities Association. We're going to talk about it again, and we're going to talk about what you've been up to and kind of what the new direction is. But for those who might not know about it or heard about it or might be out of state, like, what is the California Municipal Utilities Association?
Sure. So we're a nonprofit trade association. We represent 86 water, wastewater, and publicly owned electric utility and gas utilities in California. And we're really an advocacy shop. That's the most important thing to our members, is advocating on their behalf. And so in the legislative and regulatory arenas, that's what we do for our members. We have conferences and other things like that, but at the heart of what we do is advocating for the energy and water utilities in California.
Sure. The advocacy side, that's something that a lot of associations do, and it's usually kind of like an add-on with their service. It sounds like you're advocacy focused. What would you say is what makes it simplified to be more advocacy focused versus like training and education versus just strictly advocacy?
Yeah, so we have a small staff. We only have 8 people, and 4 of them do advocacy.
Oh.
So we pride ourselves on being a good value for our members. But that's really a lot of the reason why is we just don't have the staff to do all of the other types of services. But at the end of the day, we went through a strategic planning process a couple of years ago, and that's all our board and our members really wanted us to focus on is, how do we achieve those outcomes for them with the state legislators and with regulators as well.
Sure. I like to talk in wins. I'm sure you have an anecdote, story, something that you can say, you know what, we advocated for this, or we helped do this, we helped pass this legislation. You have something for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I might have mentioned a little bit about this on the last podcast, but right after COVID, we had our members, we're trying to figure out something we could do for our members and Californians who were struggling to pay their utility bills because of unemployment or other factors. And so we came up with this big, bold idea to ask the state for what ended up becoming $3 billion for Californians to pay their overdue water and energy utility bills. It was really hard, but it was one of the most gratifying things I've ever done in my career, is knowing that Californians were directly impacted by the work that we did. So it was really gratifying, and it was a multi-year effort, and we were able to access funding during the time that California had some of the COVID dollars. But that's really one of the factors and what made it happen. But it really reminds me of why the work that we do matters for regular everyday Californians.
Wow, that's pretty intense. I mean, I don't see any gray hairs. You still look great from last time we saw. You went through talk us through like that whole process. Like, I hate to say it, start to finish. Like, how do you go to the state and say, we want to pay people's delinquent utility bills? Like, what does that look like?
Well, I mean, we started with a letter to the governor and to the legislative leaders saying, this is a problem. We really want to try and get this addressed. The state Senate was our early champion. We worked with the Senate Pro Tem, who's basically the head of the Senate, and his staffer, to basically craft legislation that would implement a program where this money could be funneled through for both energy and water. And so lots of versions of legislation, and it ended up in a budget trailer bill with, for those that may not be as familiar with the process, a bill can either go through the policy process, which takes almost the entire year, or a budget trailer bill, which can happen within days. And so there was a lot of lead up to it, but then the bill came out. It was passed along with the budget, because it had a budget allocation attached to it. And then it took another probably 6 to 9 months to actually implement the program. So it took us a while to get the money out the door, but it definitely was still worth it.
Sure. And one thing we know about California, even just the country in general, it's a lot of changes. I mean, a lot of people have change fatigue. I'm in Arizona. I'm born and raised in California, but I remember a lot of things were changing during COVID, and then also with the changing of the president and all that fun stuff. But water scarcity, that's always been there. You know, climate resilience has been there. Energy reliability, whether we're going to do solar or you know, all these different bills that are passed. 86 of the utility side, but I'm sure you have vendor members also. What does that look like, or kind of what puts you at ease to know that you have that many different utilities or companies working on these same kind of problems?
Yeah, I mean, our members are really innovative. We pride ourselves on the fact that we kind of have a type when it comes to the members that are attracted to CMUA, and they tend to be the most innovative and really just progressive utilities in terms of, you know, not politics, but in terms of, you know, what they do for their communities. And, you know, we have members all over the map in terms of the exciting things they're doing for their utilities. We have a member in Riverside County where over a third of their water supply portfolio is recycled. Another member has one of the world's largest indirect potable reuse facilities. So that's exciting. We have a pilot project in Truckee Donner for one of our members that's installing fire resistant poles and covered conductors, which allows for those poles to not burn down in wildfire, which of course in California is really important. And so there's just innovation all over the place, and we're very excited to be part of it and to be representing members who are serving their communities in such exciting ways.
Sure. The reason why I started the podcast, Public Works Podcast, was kind of shine a light on those who are keeping our communities going behind the scenes. You know, when you think of CMUA, what would you say is kind of the tone, or what do you guys say or do for those agencies that are behind those walls? You know, the people don't really know exactly what they do or how they get the water, how they get their power. Like, what do you tell them, or what are you seeing that's working for them to get the word out of, like, hey, we're keeping the communities going?
Well, constant education is something that our members really focus on, from high schoolers to even, you know, elementary school kids, all the way up to community fairs and a variety of opportunities for the utilities to get in front of residents in their service area. I mean, when you think about it, you turn on your tap, you flip the light switch, and that's, you know, you get that's where members, you know, that's what they do for their communities, is allow for those essential services. But it's not really thought about, and you know, you don't really think about turning on the light switch until it doesn't turn on and your light's out. So we want to make sure, and our members do a really good job of getting out into their community and showcasing, here's what we do, here are the services we offer, here are the rebates we offer if you want to get a heat pump instead of traditional heating. And so that's constant education is really important to our members, and something that they really invest in.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Danielle, what you've been up to. So you're in this new position, you know, now you're the leader, you're the head of it. What have been some things that might have like been an eye opener for you? Are there some things that you might not have known that this position would have held or done, that, you know, you're in it now and you're like, oh, maybe I should take note of that for the next person?
Well, obviously my career as an advocate, because that's what I did for 25 years up until becoming executive director, and the fact that advocacy is the most important thing for our members. That was a natural fit. And so that wasn't surprising that, that was a focus for the association. I'd say some of the things and some advice I would give to a future executive directors. There's a lot that happens behind the scenes. Like right now, I'm developing or basically help with an attorney rewriting our employee handbook.
Oh.
And so that's not something you really think about. Budgets. I knew I was going to have to do the budget and things like that, but these administrative pieces and the things that are the responsibility of the executive director, you don't really think about. So it's interesting to learn, but I'm very excited to be in the role, and I feel very privileged that my board decided that I was the right person to lead CMUA into the future.
Sure. Are people pulling you for more podcasts? Do you have to show up to more events? Like, is it just more travel for you throughout the state?
Well, one of the things I am doing is I want to visit all 86 members in the first 3 or 4 years of being with CMUA. Okay. I made it to 25 utilities this year, and so I'm hoping
25.
Yeah.
How does that work? You just drive it, or you?
Driving, flying, hot air ballooning, whatever it does to take me to the utilities. But
what's that conversation interaction like? Are you saying, hey, thank you? Or are you what's that interaction like once you get there?
Well, I mean, for me, my experience is mostly on the water side. So a lot of what the purpose of these visits is not only to say, thank you, we appreciate you, we see you as a member of CMUA, but also for the electric and gas utilities, I'm learning about their operations, their facilities, and how they run their utility. So it's been a blessing for me to be able to visit so many utilities, and I look forward to making it to all 86 by the end of, I guess, 2028.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty intense. I like that, though. I like that. What do you say to those on the public side who see utilities as like they're behind the four walls? We don't know what they exactly do. We don't know what they do with our tax dollars. What do you say to them to put them at ease that they're actually operating efficiently? They're safeguarding the community's tax dollars, and that they're doing what they're supposed to do for us.
Yeah, I mean, I would say on the mind of every utility is how to provide safe, reliable, and affordable water and electric and gas service for their communities. It's something that is, mission critical, and it's on their minds every day. And they continue to find ways to innovate to create those efficiencies that are going to help advance those foundational goals. I mean, something that's really exciting. I mean, it can kind of be both scary and exciting, but a lot of our utilities are looking at how to integrate AI into their operations. We have a rural utility that's using AI and drones to check for infrastructure problems in fire-prone and remote areas. We actually have a company that's a partner of our association that has cameras that they affix to utility poles that can detect a fire using AI before anyone else sees it. And so that's really exciting. We also have members at the forefront of treating for PFAS, which are the forever chemicals that are in pretty much everything. So, our members are really focused on how can they do the best at, the best rates and the best technology in order to provide those services to their communities.
Sure. Let's hit the rewind button a little bit. Last year, the LA fires, an association like yours, where does your brain go? What statements are you trying to get out? Were you trying to, put on your boots and help out, or just see if there's anything you can do to help out in that regard, or any type of curriculum that you can come out with it that can help other similar utilities in the future?
Yeah, well, I'd say, when the fires were happening, we immediately reached out to the service providers in those particular areas and asked if there was anything we could do to help. I think, for the Palisades fire, LEDWP, the Department of Water and Power, has done such an amazing job from the very beginning with communications, and these are crisis emergency situations, and so there's always complications, but I think LEDWP did a fantastic job, and Pasadena in the Eaton fire. And so we're, again, our members that are part of CMUA are really committed to serving their communities. And so in a fire like that, there's a lot of factors to consider. But we are really proud of how our utilities responded to that. And we're just here in a supportive role. We
Sure.
educate legislators on capacity of water systems and energy systems, and whatever we can do to be helpful to our members.
Yeah, yeah. One thing I focus on is the silver tsunami. If you're not familiar with it, well, I say our best and brightest are focused on the aging infrastructure, old pipes, old roads, old X, Y, and Z that need to be refurbished or replaced with newer, better product. I focus on the aging workforce, those who have been in the industry for years and years and years, and they're taking that institutionalized knowledge with them when they leave. And we have a new generation coming in that might not be as competent or know exactly what that person who's been doing that job for 30 years would know. What have you seen among your agencies that has worked to getting that new generation not only in, but just intrigued about, the utilities, about water, about power, to be able to get them in the industry, and then also get them trained up and as competent as quick as possible so they can kind of take over from that seasoned veteran who retired?
Yeah, I mean, I would say education as early as possible is something that successful utilities that have been able to recruit into these new positions have focused on. We have a water district in Orange County that has an entire education center, which is similar to a lot of utilities where tours will come through, and utilities really like to take kids on tours to show them exactly how a water treatment plant or a substation work. And so that, I would say, probably education at the early levels, internships, whatever, operators in training, whatever they can do to get people in the door. It is definitely, especially for the technical positions, water treatment operators, electricians, things like that, there tends to be a lot of need, and that there is a lot of institutional knowledge that leaves when someone, has been in the position for 20, 30 years. But, it's that constant, what can we do to bring our community in to understand what these positions are? And, regardless of a person's skill set, there's a place for you at a water or energy utility, and they're good jobs, they pay well, and this is not something young people think about, but they also have really great retirement. And I know on the end of my career, I'm very thankful that now I have that time in a state pension, because that is going to allow me to have a nice retirement. So.
No, for sure. I'd say a lot of people that I know who've left the public agency side can afford to get into kind of position like yours where they're more active with an association because they're not having to work. They're not having to, finance their I would say their association escapades or anything like that. So I would echo that for sure. What do you say to those utilities or those agencies that are on the fence about joining up with CMUA, and why they should join up, or even the vendor side also?
Yeah, I would just say we're small but mighty, and we're very effective at what we do. I mean, I think a great example is what I talked about earlier with securing that $3 billion, because it helped Californians, but it also helped utilities who are facing a huge amount of debt. within their operations. And so for members who are looking at, potentially joining CMUA, it's like, do you want to be in the company of innovative and effective utilities where we can all work together to create a more sustainable future on for energy and water in California? Then CMUA is the right place to come, and we'd love to have you.
Sure. Let's say 20 years from now, we look back at the Danielle Blacet-Hyden era. Your stretch of time, being at the wheel of the agency. What would you say, or what would you want it to be known for? What are a couple words or sentences or mantras that you would want your era at the helm of the agency to be known for?
Yeah, I mean, I really would say public service. We're actually about to launch an advertising campaign with the tagline "Public Power, Public Water, Public Good." You heard it here first. It hasn't been launched yet, so
Okay.
And that's really at the heart of everything that we do. I'm so proud of our team, and our members are really first class. So I look forward to going to work every day, which is not something that everyone can say. And I hope that when I retire, I leave CMUA better than ever before. I'm a Boy Scout mom, and so we leave things better than we found them, and that's what I'm hoping for CMUA.
Good stuff. Did I miss anything? Anything you want to talk about? Anything on top of mind?
I don't think so. I would just say I really appreciate the opportunity to come back and talk about where things are at. And I think it's a really exciting time in the energy and water space. So I appreciate your podcast and the fact that you continue to interview folks and get out the latest on where we're at.
Yeah. Where can people find more about CMUA?
At our website, cmua.org.
Beautiful. Danielle, thank you for hopping on. Thank you for being a light in the industry and just being a overall chill person, an easy person to talk to and get in touch with. To all the listeners out there, share this with the utility, whether water or power, who you think needs to join or who you think you should hear this message of advocacy. Danielle, once again, thanks for hopping on. This has been the Public Works Podcast, and thank you everybody for tuning in.